Kenyan parents oppose president's plan to reopen schools. Parents and teachers are questioning the government's plan to partially reopen schools to let candidates prepare for national examinations, yet some of the institutions have been designated as isolation centers for COVID-19 patients. Last month the government listed 460 schools, mostly boarding, and colleges, that would be turned into emergency medical facilities, with a bed capacity of 138,220, should the number of coronavirus patients balloon and overwhelm the country's health facilities. However, President Uhuru Kenyatta's announcement that the 1.2 million Kenya Certificate of Primary Education and Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education candidates will be recalled to sit tests has added further confusion. Given all schools are examination centers, it is not clear how government would have candidates back in school and at the same time use the same facilities as isolation centers. The notice designating the schools as isolation centers listed national, extra-county and county schools, all which have candidates. Head teachers, who were already reluctant to allow use of schools as isolation centers, now point out the contradiction of recalling candidates yet their institutions are supposed to serve as temporary medical centers, with authorities already dispatching imported hospital beds to equip them. The dilemma for government will embolden parents and teachers, who are opposed to the partial opening of schools, until the pandemic is put under control. Those who spoke to the Standard on Saturday yesterday said they were not ready to release their children, even if they are candidates scheduled to sit examinations this year. Parents Association National Chairman Nicholas Mo yesterday said he had received pleas from guardians countrywide that schools should only open once the virus is contained. No parent will allow their child back to school before coronavirus is contained. Parents are afraid, the government must contain the pandemic first, he said. He wants use of schools as isolation centers looked at critically, saying it may create unnecessary panic that might distract learning. Already, teachers' unions have rejected use of schools as isolation centers unless proper guidelines are issued, saying the move would entrench stigma among learners. Parents, however, maintain that resumption of learning in schools will depend on the trend the coronavirus curve will take and the safety steps the state will employ. Uhuru said this week that his administration would issue specific guidelines on how the candidates would resume learning. He said Education Ministry would inform Kenyans on how best to navigate the issue. We will elaborate soon in more details to allow the candidates ample time to prepare for the examinations, he said. Education CS George Magoha said his teams were working on scenarios to be rolled out to mitigate effects of COVID-19 on school calendar. Kenya National Union of Teachers, NUT, and their secondary schools counterparts Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, CUPET, want the involvement of teachers to find a solution. NUT Secretary General Wilson Sawson has written to Professor Magoha proposing that teachers be included in developing COVID-19 education responses. To be successful, COVID-19 responses need to be developed with the full involvement of teachers and their representative organizations, said Mr. Sawson.